Nicole Brice here, Mixed Alternative Magazine. I am sitting here with Pete Miles of Dark Miles out of Portugal. He has just released his new album, came out April 25th. Today, we're going to discuss a little bit about that, and we're going to talk about my favorite song, When the Lights Go Out. So, what is up? How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. It's pretty
Good.
sunny here, so it's good, looking good.
Well, I'm in, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and it's a little cloudy here today, but normally it's really, really humid. So, but
It's good here.
anyway,
It's gonna it's actually gonna be a really hot week, so
so what are your temperatures there? Because like we're in the 90s here.
well, it's 25 degrees Celsius, I guess,
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
around that.
So you ready to get into it?
Sure, let's do
All
it.
right, let's do this. Let's see if we can promote this and let's get it into some more ears. So first single was Your Heart is an Empty Street, which is absolutely phenomenal. And then you came out with the second single, When the Lights Go Out, which I am convinced, and I don't know how I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to pray divine intervention, something, but I see When the Lights Go Out being a huge song for you with Aaron Lewis of Stained. Are you familiar with Aaron Lewis?
Yes, I know he is. Yeah.
Okay, so Aaron Lewis is all about, patriotism, and he's all about, unity for all and all that. And I don't know why, but like I had this dream a while back, right? And I think I told you about this when we were messaging, but I had a dream that you teamed up with Aaron Lewis from Stained and y'all re-recorded the song and it became a huge hit all over the US. So I'm hoping we can make that happen.
Yeah, no, you never know.
That's what I'm saying. I always tell people you never know. And, whenever I tell them that I have these dreams about good things happening to them, they're like, well, that's kind of far fetched. I'm like, you know what? You make your own destiny. If you want something to happen, you make it happen, right?
Sure, sure.
That's what
Um,
I'm
uh,
talking about.
I
So,
agree with you.
yep. So tell us a little more about your new project and how it came to be, and then where did the inspiration come from for you to decide, you know what, I'm going to create this album. It's going to be all about what I want to do. So where did all that come from? Explain to me.
Well, that's the easy part.
That's the easy part.
There,
Okay.
yeah, because there's so many things inside of me that I wanted to say, and then I wanted to express myself into songs. And after being a long time without playing with any band, um, I started to promote shows and booking shows for the bands, and then the pandemic came and it all came to a stop. So I was, most of the time alone in my house and not having anything to do, and all this, all this loneliness, all this solitude came to, all the ghosts from the past came together and
Mhm.
I started to exercise them through music. So there were a lot, there were a lot of ghosts there. So it was really really easy to have the inspiration to do that because there were so many things that I had to say that it all came out, just overflowing through me. Um, so it was really easy.
So it was definitely a passion project for you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It was more like when you need to do something. That's what I felt inside of me. You need to do this. You need to do this. You either succumb to the memories and depress yourself and you go down a tunnel that has no end, or you can put it into songs, and that's what I did. So I try to put it into
100%.
songs.
I kind of do the same thing with my writing. COVID was really difficult for me. So, I've got two kids, and at that time during COVID, they were very young. So imagine being stuck home all day, every day with two very young children, one who
Yeah.
has autism, and then you have no help from anybody. I thought I was going to lose my mind.
Yes, I know. I know. My two daughters are grown up now. One is 21 and the other is 20. So they're adults.
Yeah, I long for that day with mine. So my daughter is 6 and then my son is 10. So but the biggest challenge we have is with my son. But I love him to bits and I wouldn't trade my life for the world. And I truly feel like God put him in my life for a reason.
Of course,
So
that's what we're here for.
100%. So do you have any plans to do any shows anytime soon in support of the album?
Yeah, we're starting rehearsing now because I'm my band is a lot of the elements of my band work with other bands, with big bands in Portugal. So we are kind of restricted in terms of the timing for rehearsals and stuff like that. So, but we're going to start rehearsing now, and we're probably going to do the first gig in October, and yeah, like October, and then we'll go through from there, to October, and let's see what happens from there.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I can't wait to see the live footage of that. It's too bad you're so far away because I'd love to see a live show. You got to somehow make it to the United States.
Yeah, and that's our goal, to get out of Portugal, because Portugal is a really weird situation concerning music. There's a hype that right now with all singer-songwriters singing in Portuguese, and almost nothing else comes through. It's like rock has been abandoned, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, really weird. And I showed my album to a couple of labels, big labels and small labels in Portugal, and they all loved it, and they all say the same thing. Man, the album is fantastic. I love your voice, but we're only signing singer-songwriters and singing in Portuguese these days. That's the directives of the label, and that's it. And so that's the biggest issue right now in Portugal. Every time there's a hype in one genre of music, everything goes to that hype and forget about everything else. And so it's kind of hard to play rock these days here.
Well, I'm going to say in the United States, it's similar. So, in the United States, everything's so focused on pop music. And so you have to have this look, and the look kind of supersedes the talent of the product that's being put out there. So, like in the US, as long as you've got this look, they'll sign you, but then you could have like no talent in the world other than just showing up.
You got auto-tune.
Yeah, auto-tune, exactly. Well, so that's our problem. And so, well, it's either you don't have talent and you get signed, or the whole nepotism thing comes into play. You're the daughter or son of some famous musician, and so you automatically get a record deal, which I think is total, BS. That's just my opinion, And so I'm hoping that eventually things will change and there will be more of a focus on real talent, authentic talent, people who are putting in the time and the effort to really hone their craft and make it the best that they can.
I think I really believe that this TikTok generation kind of screw it up for everybody.
Dude, I agree. I don't use TikTok. I do not have it on my phone. I will not put it on there.
Me either. Those 15-second videos, they can only focus for 10, 15, 15 seconds at a time, and it ruined the music for everybody. And I believe I was seeing a video today with Rick Beato, and he told me about that. He told all those 15 seconds. That's the most of the songs that are on the top 10 hits in Spotify. People didn't even listen to the song until the end. They're just till 15 minutes, and that's it. And that's why they're on the top 10. And it's lyrics are ridiculous these days, and the compositions are all the same.
Yep,
everything's the same. So music is in a really weird period.
I agree. I think it's in a transitional period.
Yeah.
So maybe people like you and me could take it back from the bad people.
Maybe who knows. I can definitely see something changing, because I've been hearing a lot more of that 80s vibe, and a lot of, even in pop music right now. So I'm kind of hopeful that it's gonna change someday, someday soon. I hope, because I'm feeling that I don't hear that much hip hop and stuff like that, and even the reggaeton is kind of slowing down. And I feel there's a lot of more. I've heard I heard the songs from the tops, Spotify, and I've heard a lot of 80s vibe in it. So I'm kind of hopeful.
Well, and then that leads me to, so your new album has a very 80s new wave vibe to it. So, like me, I'm a huge fan of 80s and new wave. And, I'm 42 years old, but yet I don't know why I identify with music from the 80s and 90s more than I do any other, time period. And I think it's just because, you're kind of a product of the time period that you grew up in, because those things stay with you. Like for me, I heard Depeche Mode for the first time when I was 7 years old. And that has always stuck with me. And that's what really got me into music. Like once I heard Enjoy the Silence by Depeche Mode, I was like, what is this? Oh my gosh, it's great. And then I've been, on that trajectory ever since. So who were your main influences growing up that kind of influenced this album?
well, I was born in '74,
Mhm.
so I kind of went through the '80s with all my strength.
Oh yeah.
and I was kind of lucky because in my house, my dad was a big fan of blues and a big fan of jazz and a big fan of some hard rock and classic rock.
Mhm.
So I've heard a lot of music, and I was influenced by many things. So there was always music around, and my mother, she had a beautiful voice, and she sung a lot of fado. It's a traditional song from Portugal, fado. Melancholic. It's a melancholic genre of music, and she had a beautiful voice. So I was always surrounded by music all the time, and even in my family, all my cousins and stuff, they all listen to really good music. So I was lucky that way. So I grew up with a lot of influences from many genres of music. I have my '80s new wave period. I have
Mhm.
my heavy metal period. My thrash metal
Yep.
period, and then
I
and
went
then
through
there,
all that too.
then
Yep.
my grunge period, and
Mhm.
that we all that had that.
Yeah.
So I was really eclectic. I used to, we had MTV back in the day here, and there were two of my favorite shows. Where one was Ed Banger's Ball,
Yep.
and the other one was 120 minutes. So
Yes.
it's the
Yes.
alternative rock and the heavy
Yes.
metals. I never missed one show.
Me
So I
neither.
was really eclectic like that. Um, so I guess there's a lot of influences in me. My hard rock influences are a lot of bands, and the '80s and the '90s grunge. There are some other bands. So I can really say one or two or three bands. There are a lot of bands that influenced me. Even the classic rock and the heavier bands influenced me into the alternative rock. Because you can always bring something back from the other genres from the other genres to the alternative rock. So
Right.
um, there's a lot of bands, but I can name a few. Of course, Depeche Mode and
Yep.
Nick Cave and Joy Division.
Yep.
Peter Murphy and the Bows.
Yep.
Peter. I love Peter Gabriel.
Me
He's a fucking
too.
genius. Sorry for the cursing.
Oh no, you're
He's
good.
a
You're
genius.
good. This is a free
He's a
space. We're
genius.
all just about being comfy, so we good.
Uh, no, a lot of bands, a lot of bands, and then of course the '90s grunge, Soundgarden and Alice in Chains,
Yep.
and the super groups, Mad Season and Temple of the Dog and everything like that. And
Yes.
I really love Mother Love Bone.
Me
Really,
too.
I really love Mother Love Bone. Yeah,
And I love that you mentioned Mad Season because you don't hear a lot of people, especially like in this time, this day and age, talk about Mad Season, but that was one of the best super groups.
yeah, incredible, incredible.
Incredible. Because in fact, my brother, when I was in high school, he was the one who introduced me to that CD. He came home with it and he goes, "This is Lane Staley's side project." He was like, "Check this
Yeah,
out." I'm like, "Holy crap."
and also one of my biggest influences also sings in that album is Mark Lanigan.
Yes, from Screaming
Mark
Trees.
Lanigan.
Yes, rest in
Yeah,
peace.
yeah. I love that guy.
Me too.
So
He's one of the most underrated frontmans. He
yeah, yeah,
does not get
for
the
sure.
credit that he deserves.
For sure. Yeah, I was kind of lucky to meet him and call him a friend. So I was really upset when he died. So
Same. I was
um,
I was pretty upset because I was a huge Screaming Trees fan growing up. So
yeah, it was really tough. But I have it all those influences in me. So it's not, and this album is kind of an homage to the '80s and the '90s. Really,
mhm.
it's a concept album. It's not even, I'm not even trying to hide it in any way. It's really out there. You'll hear some of the influences that I'm talking about, and
Oh,
it's
I
okay
did this.
because
Yeah.
they're on purpose. It's an
Yep.
homage. So when people come to me and say, "Hey, this reminds me of Depeche Mode," or so, "This reminds me of Pretty Much," yes, of course it reminds me. Because I was deeply influenced by them, so
Hmm.
it's normal.
Well, the whole
So
album is killer, and I like that all the songs kind of flow into each other, which I love. The beginning, it sets the tone for the entire album. And so,
yeah,
like I listened to it from start to finish because, back in the day, that was the only way you could listen to
of course,
an
yeah, of
album. You didn't have the luxury of just downloading one song here and there. You'd get a new CD, you pop that sucker in, and you just listen to it and let it roll.
course, yeah. Yeah, even the way that I structured the songs to fit together, I
Yep.
think it fits. It's really good, and it has the right mood for the entire album, and it's not boring.
No.
It's very eclectic. All the musics are very eclectic. So I really think I'm really, proud of it, because it's a really, I think I've recorded albums with other bands, my other bands before, and I really think this is the one I'm most proud of, especially for being made, by myself,
Yeah.
almost all alone. I had of course, I had some help from a really good friend of mine that was the producer of the album, Paul Pressa,
Mhm.
but everything came from me, so I'm really proud of it.
Well, as you should be, because it's a phenomenal product. So anybody who's watching us right now, once you get off this YouTube video, you need to go download his new album, okay? And I'm gonna put all the facts and figures up there for you, all the links, so you'll be able to find it. But it is phenomenal. You definitely want to check it out. So moving forward, I wanted to dive into a little bit more about your music history, because, for the people in the United States that I'm going to be, showing this video to, so
Mhm.
they're not familiar with a lot of the bands that you were associated with in the past. So of course, you were in Mosh, but also
Yeah,
too, I'm sure you've been in some other bands, before that over the years. So kind
yeah.
of take us through your history musically.
Well, I was, 17 when I started playing live. So I had a band called No Tolerance for Silence, and we started doing covers from heavy metal stuff,
Hmm.
and then we made an EP with all our own songs, and they were great. We were really popular here around our area, and then it finished, and then I started another one called Cold Sun. It was released a little bit before Rage Against the Machine came out, and we had deep influences of Clawfinger. There's a band from Europe,
Hmm.
and it's like a mixture of rap with jazz and stuff like that. And then Rage Against the Machine came out, and it made a huge impact. And I said, "Oh, okay, we were doing this already."
Hmm.
And so, and then we went for a while with that band, and it was really popular. Also, did a lot of shows with that band, and then our drummer died of cancer, and the whole band fell apart. So I started, I went to a hiatus period of my life. I was really, really down for his dad. He was a really close friend of mine, and then I met some guys. The were in Porto. I live in Vila do Conde. It's a town very near to Porto, the second most populated city in Portugal, Porto. And I live in a small town right by the sea, like 30 kilometers from Porto. And those guys were from Porto, and they knew about me, and they told me if I wanted to try out some songs with them. So they gave me a tape. I went home, and I heard the tape, and I loved the songs, and I immediately started writing and
Hmm.
melodies and started writing lyrics. So like a week after, I came over to them, and I said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I have all the songs ready." And they say, "What?" Yes, yes, let's
Wow.
do it. Let's go and rehearse.
Yeah.
And they loved it. And from that, it was like 2004.
Hmm.
And from then on, in the next year, we played a lot of shows in that year. And then in 2005, we were already playing in a major festival here in Portugal, on the first stage, on the main stage.
Hmm.
We opened up for Soulfly and Cradle of Filth and stuff like that. And so it was really a jump,
Right.
a really quick jump, for us. For one year we were just playing clubs, and the other year we were already playing festivals and everything. And when we're touring around the Europe, and where our video was playing on MTV, and we opened up for shows for Marilyn Manson and for a lot of other bands from the States, like Alabama Thunder Pussy and stuff
Hmm.
like that. Um, and so we were really getting a big fan base, not only in Portugal but all over Europe, and that were a little bit in the States also. And then all of a sudden, when we released the first, we had one EP that we released the first album, with 10 songs. Um, two of the guys of the band decided that this wasn't the direction they were
Mm.
going. They wanted to go, and they wanted to do different things, and they were the founders of the band. So I couldn't even carry on with the name again. So the band was through, and a year after, I had another band called Silver Bullet, we only did the like 2 or 3 shows,
Mhm.
and we had the songs ready to do an EP, and we were trying to go to the States, to Seattle, to record them, with a big producer from
Mhm.
Seattle. And the guy said, "I know we can do that. We can put we can afford to put some holidays in, because we need to spend our holidays with our girlfriends and stuff like that." And I said, "Okay, what's important for you? Is that it? You have a lot of summers to do that."
Right.
But they were really strict about it. And I said, "Okay, no, I'm not doing this anymore. So if you don't have the ambition to do it, I'm not doing it either."
Yeah.
So I left the band, and I went through a really long period without doing any music. And I just went and started producing shows and booking shows from other bands, from foreign bands to
Mhm.
Portugal. I've worked with the Bell Rays. I've worked with Nicole from the Queens of the Stone Age. And I've worked with a lot of Swedish bands also, great Swedish bands.
Mhm.
And it was, was filling me,
Right.
filling that space, that gap that I had
That
inside me with
creative, yeah, that
music.
creative
Yeah,
itch.
it was filling it in. But then, like I said, it all came to an end when the pandemic came. So there were no more shows. So I was, just in my house, and
Mhm.
I had to do something. And I started took my old guitar, my acoustic guitar, started playing, and everything came flowing in. And I phoned Paulo Prasa, the producer. I said, "Yeah, I got some songs. Come here to my house and let's see if they're worth recording it."
Right.
And he came and we started playing it. I said, "Man, they're great. They're awesome. Let's work on this and let's do this." And everything came out from that.
And the rest is history. And here we are now with a phenomenal album that everyone needs to hear. So we got to put some more focus on it. So, you just came out with, When the Lights Go Out, but what's your plans as far as the next single from the album, or do you
No,
plan on
the next
releasing?
When the Lights Go Out it
Mhm.
isn't the last single. It's the last single is The Waiting. I would just release it with the album. It's called The Waiting, the song.
Okay.
I'm gonna release every song as a single.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, even though I released the album already, I'm gonna release every song as a
Yeah.
single until the end of the year. So I'm planning to do another single in June.
Hmm.
I believe it's gonna be the song called "Running in Circles." And then after the summer, like in September, end of September, maybe I'm gonna release another one, and then just to keep the momentum for the band, because if you don't do live shows, if you just disappear, then
Hmm.
everybody forgets about you. So
Pretty
I have
much.
to keep the momentum. I have to keep the momentum. So that's why I'm gonna keep releasing singles and let people know that we're alive and just preparing the shows.
Well, it's awesome though, because at least you have the plan and you know where you want to go with it. And I think that's a great plan because, then it's like, by continually getting yourself out there, you're also getting your brand out there because,
Yeah.
Dark Miles is a brand. And so you're continually building upon that and it stays on the top of people's consciousness because it's out there.
Yes, yes. That's the main goal. Do not, just not be without doing nothing with a
Right.
band. You have to always keep doing something. So, and releasing like 2 in 2 months, of course, in the summer, there's no problem if it stays a little bit longer, because nobody, they all want to go to festivals and want to go
Hmm.
to vacations. So they don't, they don't really care about music in those days unless they go to festivals. So it's like June and then September. So
Yeah.
we're gonna do that pause. It's gonna work out, I'm sure. And the songs, for me, to be completely honest and transparent, for me the songs are all singles.
Yeah.
They are.
They
Uh,
are.
so um, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna keep releasing it, keep the momentum going, and hopefully in October or November we'll start playing, and then it's straight on from that.
So for
Let's see
those
what
that
happens.
haven't heard your music yet, how would you describe this album to them to get them hooked to check it out?
Well, it's really personal, but I think it's people will identify themselves a lot with the lyrics.
Hmm.
There's a lot of stuff that most people have been through, and others that some people have been through, and they're gonna identify with it. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain, and there's a lot of melancholy, and there's a lot of hope also
Hmm.
in it. So at the end, there's always a little bit of hint of hope. Um, but I'm really, when I'm writing, I can't seem to to keep my feelings within. I have to really be
Hmm.
transparent. I really don't know how to write any other way. I'm really, really transparent when I'm writing. Even I also write poetry in
Oh,
Portuguese mostly, and I'm also like that. You know, you can almost see through me, you know, when I write, because I'm really, really honest with everything when I'm
mhm.
writing. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not, you know, I'm not I'm not thinking about the song. It's gonna if it's gonna fit. If this you know if this verse is gonna be cool or it's gonna be sound good. No, it's visceral. It's like a
Mhm.
visceral thing. You know, I have to just put it out, and I'm really really honest with everything I write. Everything that is in there, especially in the album, is everything is honest. Everything came from inside me. You know, not you know I don't care about the opinions of others or I'm not influenced by that
Right.
because I have my own opinions and I have my own life experience,
Mhm.
so I have to trust in my own life experience and put it out there, and hopefully someone will identify with it and see themselves in it, and that's it. I guess first of all, when a musician has to be honest in his work, you know, in his music and in his lyrics, he has to be honest
Mhm.
because if he doesn't, if he's not honest, the songs will eventually die. You know, they won't transparent, you know, I don't know how to say this.
Like the generations, like they won't have
Yeah, in the yes, yeah, yeah,
longevity and yeah, with other
the
generations.
time, you know,
Yeah.
the
They
test of
become
time. That's
throwaway
what
tracks, as
the
I like to
test of
say.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So and I think that's what's lacking in today's music. Honesty, you know, in the music and
100%.
the lyric. I don't feel it every time I hear a song. I don't feel like there's any honesty in it. It's
Nope.
just everything is calculated and to please someone and to please a mass, you know. And I'm not like that, you know. I have to be honest with it, with myself and with others.
I'm
Some
the
people
same
don't
way.
like.
Yeah. Well, and also too, like with music, like I can't listen to music that has no substance. It doesn't have,
Yeah,
music
no
that has no,
depth.
yeah, it's got to have depth. It's got to have heart. It has to have a meaning because for me, I'm big about lyrics, So when I'm listening to a song, the whole thought process I have is what is the message that it's trying to convey? What are they telling me? And if I can't take anything away from your music, I don't want to listen to it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, music has the ability to heal. I mean, it's been proven, because of the
Mhm.
frequencies and things like that.
Yeah.
And so if you're listening to music with no substance, then what's the point?
Yeah, yeah. I think you know, if people go and read the lyrics, they're gonna understand it
Yeah.
because I really think that those are this album has the best lyrics I ever written, and they are very profound and they have depth and they are very transparent and very honest, all of them. Uh, and they're very personal. Most of
Yeah.
them are very personal. The most personal I can tell you this. There's no secret, but the most personal of all is One Last Goodbye
Mhm.
because it's about the death of my mother. So I was there. I was there holding her hand while she was giving her last breath. So it was a traumatic experience. So I put it into a song. So and that song tells the whole story. So it's the most personal song I have in it. Um, so but all of them are personal. You know, I had a really rough, not childhood, but adolescence,
Mhm.
more adolescence. A childhood I don't remember quite well my childhood, but I think it was kind of happy. But my adolescence was really violent, really violent. My father he wasn't the drunk. It was just very strict and very hard and he was in the war. You're in the colonies of Portugal. He was in the war, so he came traumatized by that, and it was
Mhm.
really violent. Everything turned into violence, and sometimes with my father when he had arguments with my mother, instead of beating her, you beated me. So it was like a punching bag for a lot of years, and so that traumatized me, of course. And then I got bullied in school, so it was two kinds of traumatized to being traumatized twice, in
Yeah.
school and at home. So and you try to hide it, all those feelings inside of you, and it stays subconscious. And only a few years from now, coming from now, I started to really remembering things that
Mhm.
happened, and in all of these songs, it transmits some of those things. that I started remembering by. Of course, I've confronted my father with those
Right.
things. I had to, but I kept it hidden for a long time. So I did almost the psychotherapy that I needed. I did it myself,
Yeah.
myself, and I'm good about it. Okay, I'm totally at peace with it
Yeah.
right now. I, I truly I knew I had to say this, and I had to confront him to be at peace. So I did that. So I'm at peace, and I have a good relationship with him still.
Yeah.
But you have to be confronted with that, and I lived through that, and so did my brother, so did my mother. So
Mhm.
um, I kind of developed, like a carcass, you know, like a superhero suit or something like that. That
Like a shield of armor or
yeah,
something. Yeah.
yeah, like an armor. It isn't most things that affect me right now.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the things don't affect me like they used to because I have all this baggage.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to work it through music and doing my psychotherapy through music, and it's working, I guess.
And I can sympathize with all that because like I had a rough upbringing too. And I'll just say that it wasn't until, like you said, years later, I started recalling a lot of the things that I had gone through. And then I started healing myself through that, through the reflections and everything. And, I will say like the biggest thing I struggle with daily, and I'm transparent too, I'm just brutally honest about everything. I struggle daily with depression because
Yeah, me
of
too.
things
I'm
dealing with,
medicated. Of
because
course,
of
I'm
things dealing
medicated.
with my son, it's a very cruel world out there. And, and I deal with that daily. And so,
I find it kind of ridiculous. People are ashamed to say it. I mean, mental health. There's a lot of people struggling with mental health.
yeah.
A lot of people. So you don't have to be ashamed about it. It's normal.
Oh,
And
I'm not ashamed. I'm transparent.
and
I
there are
tell people my
things,
story. Yeah.
of course, and there are things that make you better, and
Yeah.
you have to do them. That's it. And I'm getting my medication, and I'm feeling better. Of course,
Yeah.
I'm feeling better. So it's good. It's good. If it's working, it's good. So
Exactly.
just something you don't have to be afraid or be ashamed
Right.
about it. Perfectly normal. We all have our baggage, either you like it or not.
Exactly. And I figure unity through transparency because, if your story can help someone else and vice versa, then why not share it?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I'm always like that.
Yep.
I don't hide my feelings anymore. I don't hide it. You
Yep.
know,
Me neither.
I just try to share my wisdom and my life experiences to others.
Yep.
That's what I try to do.
And that's all we can do and move forward. So, what is your ultimate goal though that you want to accomplish with your music going forward?
Well, there's the utopian one.
Yeah.
It's the like living just for doing music. That's almost an utopia. It's like it's very, 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 very difficult to do
Hmm.
that these days. So only the 1% of the artists, the big artists, can do that.
Yeah.
So, but the more plausible goals are just keep doing music, keep having money enough to do another record, and to keep doing other records. And mostly that's it. I don't have a lot of big goals
Mhm.
really. I'm a 50-year-old man. I don't know. I
You
can't
don't
have
look
big
50,
goals
so
anymore. I can't have big goals anymore. Just doing music is enough for
yeah.
me, and keep releasing music is enough to make me happy. And if it makes other people happy, then awesome. That's the biggest reward I can get. You know, I don't expect to be famous. I don't really care about fame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't. Some people say it, but they don't mean it. But I really mean it. I don't care about fame.
I don't
If I
either.
could live up with just releasing music, and I could live being my full-time job being releasing music, that would be my dream job. That would be the dream. But I'll keep releasing it anyway, as long as I can get the money to do it. That's it.
And we'll just keep on pushing it and promoting it because I mean what you're doing is absolutely incredible. And so 10 Miles into the Dark by Dark Miles got released April 25th. It's out now. I highly recommend this album, and I'm going to put links up so you can check it out. But I want to thank you today for chatting with me.
Thank you.
And no
Thank you so
makeup and all.
much.
Look at me. You know, I guess I should
You
have
look
fixed myself
beautiful
up a little.
anyway.
I got the nerd girl look going on, or as my husband calls it, the librarian look, you know.
Yeah,
But
that's
but
cool.
anyway, but I wanted to thank you so much for talking with me today. And I
Thank you
hope you know
for
you've got a huge fan with me, and I will continue to promote your music however I can and get
thank
it
you so much.
as many ears as I can. So
Thank you
is
so
there anything
much.
else that you'd like to say about your projects and you know things that you have
No,
coming?
I just hope, people really listen to it, and when they're listening to it, be really focused in the music and in the lyrics, and they can appreciate that, and maybe, you know, they can relate to those songs, to those lyrics, and they feel hopeful,
Mhm.
like because although they are very very dramatic and very tense and very dark, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and
Mhm.
that's what I'm trying to say in every song. There's always a light, a little bit of light in the end of the tunnel, and that's what I want people to hang on to, that light. So if they can find it in my songs, that would be amazing.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining me
Thank
today.
you.